high time that we put our foot down, do something about it.
I think one aspect should also be considered. There is or has been or may be interference from within. So I would say any kind of interference from any source. Okay, we will not countenance this interference. Yes, we must never countenance such interference. But can a Chief Justice call a judge and say, decide a case in this manner? You should
both independence from within, but also from without.
You should raise your finger to us as well. That if you want a true independent court, then the civil judge in Makran should be as powerful as the Chief Justice of Pakistan. How dare the Chief Justice of Pakistan interfere in his working? When we devise mechanisms for interference, such as monitoring judges, that is undermining the independence of the judiciary, in my opinion. When we mandate the role of intelligence agencies by constituting JITs, which are not provided for any law other than ATC laws, we undermine the independence of the judiciary. So all these suggestions should incorporate anyone. Otherwise, what we are saying is, once we assume a position of a judge, we are from the same society. We are from this community of lawyers that we come here. We may be good, we may be bad. The bad doesn't end when you are elevated. So interference of any kind, from any source, any phone call, that should also be equally, for a judge, civil judge, maybe that's more fearful than we are focusing on one particular thing on the executive. We should also call about self-accountability within the judiciary. And has there not been interference, and the greatest of interference from within and the highest court of the land? That's a matter of history. We can go into specific cases also.
So that's great.
To achieve certain results, certain things were said, certain things were done. So I had made it clear the very first day, I will never accept any interference from any source. And there has not been a single complaint since my assumption of this office to me or to the Registrar of the Supreme Court. We are now dealing with a past transaction. I would say very good. I commend that it is being done. But let's not then make it political and just say, for this period of time we are going to do it, and for that period of time let's close it, eyes to it. Let's either do it for all periods of time. That's also selective accountability and can become the worst kind of accountability in certain cases. So this, we have seen how these institutions have been manipulated. My thing from day one has been simply speak the truth. The past is the past. Let's grow up now. Let's at least acknowledge. If we are just going to cast blame on each other endlessly, there is no future for us. What has happened, we all know that. So it's an open secret. Tell us the dates when it happened. It's an open secret. Everyone uses this phrase. Give us instances. Yes, call me, I'll give you instances of how judiciary has been manipulated. I'll give you instances from this court itself. So let's be very clear about it. We want to tackle it. We will not be manipulated by being used by a political force, a political agency, or another intelligence agency, or any group of lawyers, or even the government of Pakistan, because this suits them in this particular juncture and something doesn't suit them. So when we put this, only we should put any source. Let it be said from any judge. I don't see, all the judges seem to, that is out. A registrar calls judges. I mean, shall be called for witness from among the lawyers? How many registrars have called judges to do what? There's another interference in the judiciary. Our presidents of the lower bar don't force their way into the judge's chamber. Is that not interference?
My lord, I think
strikes not another form of interference.
I think I absolutely endorse the Honorable Chief Justice, but speaking for myself. You see, that's, if it is not happening, it's our internal weakness. That can be dealt with. But if the state becomes the aggressor against a judge, that is what all the high courts are highlighting. And that is a serious matter. The High Court of Lahore is endorsing what the Islamabad High Court has said. It is a continuing, and we all know that it is happening, and it has happened. And the judges, they fear reporting because my learned Attorney General, since the last hearing, what has happened to a judge of the Islamabad High Court, his personal data, which cannot be accessed by a private person, was put on the social media.
Yes.
That is an intimidation. That is what affects a judge, and all those matters, mind you. My Lord is on the bench, 2.5 hours of Judicial Commission's meeting. Each one of them was discussed. Even his green card was mentioned, and he was opposed by the judges from within and from outside because he was independent. Now, it is about independent judges. The internal problems, it is for us to sort out. It is the external, the state is to protect the judges and independence of judiciary. When it becomes the aggressor, which each high court is saying, that is what is the issue. And it is happening. It is a phenomena that has happened for the last 76 years. And this is what each high court is endorsing. It is happening today.
My Lord, if I may,
Attorney General,
just a brief response.
Mr. Attorney General, just a second. I mean, let me just share how I look at this entire matter. You see, it is not about the whole case is about independence of judiciary, be it within the judiciary or be it without judiciary. I think we cannot say that we give preference to this or the other. There cannot be any interference in the judiciary. You take off, the internal matters could be sorted out internally, as rightly said, but now we have this opportunity today in this case to settle the score and fix the matter for all times to come. I'm not too concerned about one particular incident. We're talking about a generic system, a code to be put in place today that this should not happen. This should not happen from outside. This should not happen from inside. This is a golden opportunity that we have today to lay down a code that this firewall has to be built, that no more of this. So we can start off with the external pressures, we can come down to internal pressures, but we have to deal with it. These high courts have actually reached out to us to say this. These high courts have all these powers to do it themselves, but they haven't done it so far. The matter has landed on our table now today. अगर करना होता तो वो कर लेते, पिछले कितने सालों से वो कर लेते, सारी पावर्स कंटेम्प्ट की भी उनकी हैं, कर लेते. The question is, they haven't done it. The case has landed here as apex court. Could we just brush aside this thing and say, no, High Court, aap jab kar lo, jaake karo, hame kya pata kya karna hai, tum khud kar lo. We should empower the high courts. We are, by interfering in this matter, actually empowering the high courts, empowering the district judiciary, empowering the entire judiciary, and I don't think it's interference in any matter. It is actually empowering my courts in the country. So, as I see it, we need to sit down and lay down a code which is a clear firewall against all sorts of excesses. I'm not concerned about person A, B, C. My case is very clear. I just want to look at the system. The system has to be put in place that this cannot happen, and there has to be a mode and mechanism, which the high courts have very ably come up with a process that if something happens to a civil judge, what's the process? If something happens to the high court judge, what happens? High court is being empowered to take action. If high court doesn't do it, what does the Supreme Judicial Council do? Unless and until Supreme Judicial Council and all these forums, a mechanism is put in place, we're back to square one. So if this is an opportunity, we have 3 cases earlier. We have the Benazir case, we have the Chaudhry Iftikhar case, we have my lords, there's a case on Dharna judgment, and then there is the latest one. All these cases are there, and the high courts are saying it's still not working. So there has to be something in addition to what has happened so far. This particular mechanism that we need to lay down has to have something more to it so that it's more effective. That is what, so I look at it